CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.
तो जानबूझ के लेके आई, मेरे को मजबूरी है, मेरे को जाना पड़ेगा, क्या कर सकता हूँ।
नहीं, छूट नहीं देनी चाहिए, कामयाब नहीं होगा फिर।
तो यही सोल्यूशन नहीं है, सोल्यूशन काफी सारे हैं। आपसे बात करो।
और इवन की स्कीम चलाई थी वो आज से शुरू हो गई है, तो जो लोग वॉल्यूशन पैदा करेंगे हम उनको ये गुलाब का फूल देंगे।
People are following the rules and cooperating to the enforcement, law enforcement agencies.
दिल्ली के लोगों ने इसको बहुत खुले मन से और बहुत अच्छे से इसको अपनाया है, पूरे एंटी पोल्यूशन ड्राइव को।
Well, it's a new beginning for the world's most polluted city. Even number cars mostly stayed off Delhi roads as the odd-even scheme kicked off. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal led example as he carpools to work along with his key ministers. Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on India Business Hour. The big newsmaker tonight is the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. But let's take our viewers through the other top stories that we're tracking this evening.
नए साल की मैं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं प्रधानमंत्री जी को और मैं उनसे निवेदन करता हूं कि आज नए साल पे वो एक रेजोल्यूशन ये लें कि इस साल में केजरीवाल को काम करने दूंगा।
That's the New Year message from Arvind Kejriwal to Prime Minister Modi. Accuses the Prime Minister of targeting him using bureaucrats. Also says he's ready to take on Finance Minister Jaitley in court. That's a Network 18 exclusive.
A positive start to 2016 on Dalal Street. Major indices wipe out early losses to end with marginal gains. Midcaps party as stocks rally over 1%.
India will inch closer to 8% GDP in 2016, shows a CNBC TV 18 poll of top economists. Also expect inflation to remain largely under control.
Maruti ends 2015 in style, posts double-digit domestic sales growth in December. Exports save the day for M&M.
Aviation stocks soar in trade after jet fuel prices are slashed by 10%. Jet Airways hits its highest level in the last 52 weeks.
Government takes the first step to become a minority shareholder in IDBI Bank, allows the bank to raise over 3,700 crore rupees by diluting 25% stake.
The government moves to revamp the censor board, sets up a panel under renowned filmmaker Shyam Benegal to initiate reforms. Piyush Pandey, Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra and Bhavna Samaya are also part of the committee. Well, thanks to all of our viewers for joining us on the first edition of India Business Hour for 2016. As always, let's kick things off with the market action. And it was a good start to the new year. The major indices did wipe out early losses, ended with marginal gains. But today, if there was a story, it was the mid-cap story. The mid-cap index surging over 1%. It gained nearly 150 points today, so that's where the action was. The Nifty paling in comparison. It finally closed about 16 points higher. That's the Nifty 4U7963. Ended almost near its highest closing level in 2 months. Onto the Sensex, which gained over 40 points, consolidating its position above 26,000. So a positive start for the Dalal Street on the first day of 2016. But the top story, and this is a story that everyone in the country is watching. A new dawn for the world's most polluted city. The Delhi government's odd-even scheme got underway for a 15-day trial period. So today being the first, and an odd number only car with odd number plates were allowed to ply. In fact, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal led by example, carpooling with his ministers for work. Not just that, several of his other ministers also reached office by public transport. Kejriwal claims the response has been phenomenal and has praised the Delhi traffic police. Sources say 117 people were fined 2,000 rupees each on day one for not complying with the rules. Here's a report on what was an odd start to 2016.
It seems like Delhiites are responding to the odd-even rule right now, and there are a couple of volunteers there. Let's go talk to them right now. आप बताइए response कैसा रहा है?
रिस्पॉन्स बहुत बढ़िया रहा है। अभी तक हमने इवन गाड़ी चल रही है, कोई भी 2-3 आई थी गाड़ी,
जिन्हें इमरजेंसी थी। कोई नहीं, पब्लिक बहुत अच्छा रेस्पॉन्स दे रही है। गाड़ी हमें सुबह से एक भी, हमने 2-3 गाड़ी रोकी जैसा इन्होंने बताया, उन्होंने इमरजेंसी बताई। बस
इस बात की ज्यादा पॉसिबिलिटी है कि 15 तारीख के बाद भी ये जो एक्सपेरिमेंट जो भी हो रहा है ये बरकरार रहेगा, अगर इसी तरीके से चीजें।
नहीं, अभी 15 को तो बंद करेंगे।
15 को बंद करेंगे?
15 को अभी बंद करेंगे एंड वी विल टेक अ रीअसेसमेंट। देखिए, कहीं भी दुनिया भर में ऑड इवन परमानेंट बेसिस पे नहीं रहा, प्रैक्टिकली हो भी नहीं सकता। ये जब जब पोल्यूशन के लेवल बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं तो पोल्यूशन के लेवल्स को नीचे लाने के लिए टेम्पररी बेसिस पे इस हथियार का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है।
लेकिन ये इंपॉर्टेंट बात आप कह रहे हैं। आप कह रहे हैं कि 15 तारीख को ऑन द 15th of January व्हाट विल हैपन? विल इफ आई हैव एन ऑड नंबर कार और इवन नंबर कार, 15th इज ऑड नंबर 5,
16th से 15 तक तो है, 16th के बाद से फिलहाल ये बंद हो जाएगी। फिर जब जब पोल्यूशन बढ़ेगा, मान लीजिए 2 महीने के बाद 3 महीने के बाद बढ़ता है, तो फिर इसको इंप्लीमेंट किया जाएगा कुछ दिनों के लिए।
इसका
ये परमानेंट
नहीं है,
ये परमानेंट नहीं है।
I'm right outside the prime metro station Rajiv Chowk, and today being the first day of odd even plan launched by Delhi government to curb pollution, it has been a talking point. So let me just go to some of the commuters and ask that what do they think about the odd even plan.
Today the air is slightly purified, and we don't have any parking problem. Also, there is no rush on the roads.
You tell us that what do you think about the odd even plan, and do you think that is it going to be a success?
Yes, of course it will be a success, but like the gentleman said, we all have to cooperate and help the government.
इससे लगता है कि ऑटो वालों की मनमानी बढ़ जाएंगी और कोई ऑटो वाला जाने के लिए तैयार नहीं होगा। और जिस ऑटो वाले से बोलेंगे हमें सीपी जाना है, तो जहां 60 रुपए लगते हैं वो 100 रुपए मांगेगा। हम किससे कंप्लेंट करें? ये कहते हैं कि कंप्लेंट करो, कोई कार्रवाई नहीं होती।
Some are really positive about the odd even plan and some are still doubting the capability of public transport. So the yet picture is yet to be revealed. This is Tanushri Pandey from CNN IBN.
So that was the odd start for New Delhi in 2016.
It wasn't a bad start at all, Nantara. Home to office, 15 minutes flat. Couldn't have asked for a better start.
But most people are not working today.
But that's still okay. Yeah. But you didn't see a majority of even cars on the roads or any of that. I mean, you know, there was odd cars on the road. They may have been fewer in number, but it was odd cars on the road.
Yeah, very few find anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the big newsmaker tonight. Please let me work. That was Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's New Year plea to the Prime Minister. Speaking exclusively to Bhupendra Chaubey, Kejriwal blamed the Prime Minister's office for turning the bureaucrats against the state government. Here's an excerpt of that exclusive interview.
एक बात जरा बताइए सर, अभी कुछ समय पहले आप गए थे नीतीश कुमार जी की स्वेरिंग इन के लिए पटना में, वहां भी आपसे मुलाकात हुई थी। अब देखिए, नीतीश कुमार और नरेंद्र मोदी जी में काफी रस्साकशी हुई, ममता बनर्जी और नरेंद्र मोदी में काफी रस्साकशी हुई। उन लोगों के सामने तो ये समस्या नहीं है जो आपके सामने आ रही है। कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं कि गलती आपकी अपनी है?
इसका जवाब तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी देंगे। मेरे दफ्तर के अंदर सीबीआई की रेड किसने करवाई? केजरीवाल ने तो नहीं कराई, नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने कराई। मेरे हर ऑर्डर को नल एंड वॉइड कौन करता है? नरेंद्र मोदी जी करवाते हैं एलजी से। तो मैंने तो कुछ किया नहीं, वो ही कर रहे हैं। तो वो बताएंगे इसका जवाब। आप उनसे एक दिन एक इंटरव्यू कोशिश तो करके देखिए। वो
मैं कर रहा हूँ, वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
इंटरव्यू देते हैं कि नहीं देते, उनसे पूछिएगा। भाई, आप ममता बनर्जी को तंग नहीं करते, आप नीतीश कुमार को तंग नहीं करते, आप नवीन पटनायक को तंग नहीं करते। आप
वो भी
1 मिनट सर,
अच्छा बोले हाँ, वो रूल है हमारा, चलिए बोले।
जयललिता जी को तंग नहीं करते। ये आधे स्टेट का चौथाई मुख्यमंत्री, जिसकी कोई औकात नहीं है, छुटका सा आदमी है, जिसकी छुटकी सी पार्टी है, इसके पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए आप? आज आपके चैनल के जरिए मैं कहना की कोशिश कर रहा हूं कि मेरी किसी से लड़ाई नहीं है। मैं आज भी प्रधानमंत्री, आज नया साल है,
पहला दिन नए साल। और प्रधानमंत्री जी हमारा चैनल जरूर देखते हैं, एक बात बता दूं मैं आपको।
बहुत अच्छी बात है। नए साल की मैं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं प्रधानमंत्री जी को, और मैं उनसे निवेदन करता हूं कि आज नए साल पे वो एक रेजोल्यूशन ये लें कि इस साल में केजरीवाल को काम करने दूंगा। मुझे आपसे कुछ नहीं चाहिए। मैं उनसे मिला था, मेरी मीटिंग हुई थी उनसे अगस्त या सितंबर के महीने में। उसमें मैंने मीटिंग में उनको बोला था, मैंने कहा सर, आपके जितने प्रोग्राम्स हैं, आप स्वच्छ भारत चाहते हैं, मैं स्वच्छ दिल्ली करके दूंगा आपको। पूरी दिल्ली साफ 1 साल में कर दूंगा। मेरे को आपसे पैसा नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को आपसे जमीन भी नहीं चाहिए। आप बस ये रोज रोज एलजी ने नल एंड वॉइड कर दिया, ये कर दिया, ये टांग अड़ाना मेरा बंद कर दीजिए मुझे आपसे। और सारा क्रेडिट मैं आपको दूंगा, मैं बाहर खड़े होकर कहूंगा मोदी जी ने कर दिया। मैं सारा, आपको स्किल मिशन चाहिए, मैं स्किल इंडिया करके दूंगा। मैं प्लीज हमें काम करने दीजिए।
Well, that's Arvind Kejriwal for you. But moving on to the economy now, 2015 may not have felt like a great growth year, but economists are bracing for faster growth in 2016. A CNBC TV 18 poll that we conducted across economists shows that respondents see India's GDP growth growing by at least 0.5% higher than the previous year, closing in on the 8% mark, and inflation cooling off to about 5% by FY17 end. Ritu Singh has the details of the CNBC TV 18 economic poll.
India is poised for a higher growth path in 2016. That's the verdict from India's top economists polled by CNBC TV 18. The country's GDP growth may touch 7.5% in the current year and further pick up to 7.9% by FY17, provided monsoons do not play spoilsport.
External headwinds are going to remain for India. The positive side for India is that we are seeing some early signs of a cyclical pickup. Growth will possibly be marginally higher in 2016 compared to 2015.
CNBC TV 18's poll shows that consumer price inflation could remain around 5.5% by March 2016, but then cool off to about 5% by March 2017. But even with inflation under control, the mid-year review of the government shows that the best chance of kick-starting the growth engine would be through higher public expenditure, which in turn may hurt India's fiscal deficit. The respondents expect FY16's fiscal deficit to be maintained at the promised 3.9%, but with the effects of higher wages and a potentially higher public expenditure bill coming in, the poll shows that fiscal deficit for FY17 may be closer to 3.7% than the 3.5% projected by the government.
We should completely desist from not reducing the fiscal deficit if it is because of public consumption increase. However, I think that if indeed we can step up public investment, both in the railways in particular, we could possibly consider slowing down the path of fiscal consolidation.
As for the other parameters, our respondents expect the Indian currency to strengthen against the dollar, expecting it to touch 66.3 by March and depreciate to 67.5 by the end of 2016.
Will the Reserve Bank of India be able to support this growth? While 40% of our respondents said they expect a 50 basis point rate cut in this fiscal, 60% said they only expect a 25 basis rate cut by the Reserve Bank in the entire fiscal FY17. So while 2016 definitely looks out to be better than 2015, a lot will depend on how the external environment pans out. In Mumbai, Ritu Singh.
And speaking of the economy, is 2016 a make or break year for India Inc.? Menika Doshi sat down with some top corporate leaders to get their expectations for the new year.
Business is building momentum. The markets are building momentum. And as more optimism kicks into the air, consumer confidence picks up, and then you see translating into demand, and then off you see performance of companies picking up. Companies like us, we position not for a year, or we position for the medium long term.
If I look at the fact that there are lots of things going for the country, whether it is the fiscal deficit, led of course by the fact that overall globally the commodity prices have slowed down, oil is helping us in no uncertain terms, and to that extent, I think it's for us to make it happen from here. The direction is very clearly there. Whether it's going to be better than 2015, certainly looks like it.
It's not a make or break year, it's a make or bigger make year. So how much will it be? Faster growth is what we have to see. There will be momentum. But what is a good thing is that the base effect has already happened. So we're talking from a lower base next year.
Sure.
So that should be, from a point of view, at least stable, if not positive.
Well, corporate expectations, they're hoping for a bigger, better 2016, hoping for consumer and investment revival. Now, 2015 has been a year to forget largely for India's auto companies. We had the Delhi diesel ban, the Volkswagen scandal, and of course, in general, the demand environment was sluggish. December is offering a ray of hope, at least for some companies. Maruti, which continues to look strong, has posted another strong number for the domestic sales growth, which is higher by about 13%, higher than expectations as well. New launches like the Baleno and the S-Cross have seen good demand. However, the company's seen a sharp drop in exports. Exports down by about 33% compared to last year. For M&M, the picture is opposite to Maruti's. The company's domestic sales saw a mere 1% growth, and tractor sales also disappointed with just a 3% growth, but exports are up 65%, albeit it's a low base for M&M. It continues to be a bumpy ride for Tata Motors. The sales for the company are now down 4%. Thanks to a sharp fall in its passenger car sales, commercial vehicles did manage to post a growth of about 6%, exports higher by about 15%. Royal Enfield continues to cruise along. Its December sales growth up by more than 40%, selling more than 40,000 two-wheelers. That's, of course, year on year. Remember, the company has already said that it will be impacted by the Chennai floods that did impact its operations for a few days. So all of that is the news that's coming in. We will see more auto companies unveil their numbers for the month of December tomorrow, but largely today it's a mixed bag. Now, the Congress party has accused the government of failing to deliver in 2015. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram led the attack, saying that the economy is a car running on two wheels.
For the whole of 2015-16, GDP growth is not likely to be higher than 7 to 7.3%. which means that it will be the same as or lower than in 2014-15. The economy is stuck in a groove. After the Bihar elections, there were initial signs that the government would reach out to the opposition and adopt a consensual approach. The hope was short-lived. As a result, many important legislation remains stalled in Parliament.
This is the former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram on the state of the Indian economy. Aviation stocks are flying high in trade today. This after oil companies cut aviation turbine fuel or ATF prices by another 10% last night. Jet Airways incidentally hit the highest level in the last 52 weeks, and the Indigo stock is 73% higher from its issue price of 765 rupees a share.
So all of those stocks up and about. Another stock in focus, IDBI. The government has taken the first steps towards reducing its stake in IDBI Bank. The financial giant has been allowed to raise more than 3,700 crores through a qualified institutional placement, which will see the government stake being diluted by about 25%. This move will see the government stake fall to between 64 to 65%. So this was much anticipated, and that has finally gone through. No stranger to tax battles, Vodafone is contesting an attempt by the tax department to add 2,500 crore rupees to its taxable income in the Delhi High Court. 2016 hasn't started well for the company. Vodafone has between 2010 and 2012 sought exemptions from taxation for various incomes, adding up to the same amount. The tax department has disallowed the exemption, and the draft order was upheld by the dispute resolution panel. The DRP order was challenged by Vodafone in the Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court has stayed the tax department from issuing a fresh demand against the telecom major, and it will now hear further arguments from both sides on the 18th of February. Something's never changed, Neta. Whether it's 2015 or 2016, Vodafone's tax battles continue. But what do we have coming up?
On the other side of this short commercial break, the government moves to revamp the censor board under renowned filmmaker Shyam Bengal. Details when we return.
CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.
The controversy-ridden censor board led by Pailaj Neolani could be counting their last days as Information and Broadcasting Ministry has constituted a panel under Director Shyam Bengal to give its recommendations to restructure the censor board and suggest changes in the Cinematography Act. The move has the blessings of the Prime Minister and comes after the INB Minister hinted at the makeover of the board to make it controversy-free. Now, the committee, which is likely to submit its report in the next 2 months, also includes filmmaker Rakesh Prakash Mehra, Adnan Piyush Pandey, film critic Bhavna Somaya, National Film Development Council MD Neena Gupta, and Joint Secretary Films Sanjay Murthy. So finally, the government waking up to the controversies at the censor board. Now, Aditya Birla Nuvo is one of the 11 payment banks expected to bring in a brave new world in the Indian financial system. No surprise then that competition is likely to be intense. But Aditya Birla Finance says despite margins coming under pressure, volumes will determine the winner. Lata and Alexander Matthew get you more.
170 million Idea Cellular subscribers in the country and counting. That's the captive market Aditya Birla Nuvo is targeting as it gears up to get its payments bank up and running.
I think we are working to get it done in 2016. I don't think it will be early in 2016, but clearly a lot of work going on at the moment to make sure that we can launch it in 2016.
The market size is nothing to scoff at. This is easily 3 times the number of customers that the country's largest bank has. Of course, with 11 payments banks entering the fray, capturing the market will depend on a lot more. So with at least 6 payments banks expected to be operational by the second half of this year, the space may be in for a pricing war from the very beginning. While that's good news for customers, it will mean margins coming under pressure. But Srinivasan says volumes will be the game changer.
I think margins will come under pressure. I think that to my mind is, I think that is going to happen. I don't think crash is the word I'd use, but I definitely see them coming down.
Okay, so tough times for everybody, but good times for the customer?
But, you know, you have to adjust that with the volume increase, right? Because I think there's a number of things happening to increase the monetization in the economy. And I think that's one of the big trends of 2015. And I think that's the, you know, that's, so although margins may look like they're coming down, volumes could make up for a lot of that.
Volumes become more essential as payments banks look to subscription-based or fee-based revenues to bolster overall turnover.
Obviously, the transaction revenue is obviously the key source of revenue that the payment bank will look at. And we're hoping that the volumes will be significant enough to make that a reasonable revenue line.
However, there are some uncertainties that need ironing out. Key among them is whether payments banks like Aditya Birla Nuvo will be allowed to piggy bank banking services on existing infrastructure. Discussions are ongoing, but till there is clarity from various regulators on just how this could work, these banks are keeping their fingers crossed. In Mumbai, with Lata Venkatesh, Alexander Matthew.
Right, moving on, India's cities are getting choked thanks to pollution. On a day when the Delhi government kicked off the odd-even scheme, here's a report on how you can fight against respiratory ailments and other lifestyle diseases.
Industrialization has indeed changed the economic profile of the country, but has brought its own sets of problems, at least on the healthcare front. We all know Delhi is choking and Mumbai is fast getting there. This is giving rise to a host of respiratory diseases like asthma. So how do we fight these respiratory problems?
Good nourishing diet, proper exercise, fresh air, all these are very important, and if you are diagnosed to have a disease, a regular plan of medication should be followed. You should follow up with your doctor at least 3 times a year, whether you are well or unwell.
Well, those are handy tips indeed. But given our sedentary lifestyles, it's important to work on overall diet and food habits to avoid what's popularly known as lifestyle diseases. India is sitting on a ticking time bomb as far as diabetes is concerned. The latest figures for India are 62 million diabetics, and there are 77 million Indians who are potential diabetics who will soon join the club.
We all have that genetic load with us, which is a diabetic load. But to bring it out, we need to really have something to pull that trigger, and that is your environmental factor. The urbanization, the sedentary lifestyle, the food habits, which have changed over the years.
Lifestyle changes are here to stay, and it's difficult to change habits overnight. These statistics could well be a wake-up call for people to change to a healthier lifestyle, one step at a time. In Mumbai, Radhika Dave.
So have you made your New Year resolution?
I seem to have the same resolution every year, Shiri.
I'd stop making them. Anyway, on that note, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Here's wishing all our viewers a very happy 2016. Do tune into India Business Hour every night, and we'll see you again on Monday. Till then, from the entire team, goodbye, and thanks very much for watching.
CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.